Yay. So we're live on YouTube now. Welcome to the very first Reaction community call for 2018. My name is Michiko, and I'm always the host of the call. And I'm here today with Spencer and Michael Jenny, who you've seen before on our calls. And I'm also here with somebody new, the newest person on our team, Akarshit. So do you want to introduce yourself a little bit, Akarshit? Because people might have remembered you from your GitHub name as one of our most active contributors, probably since around last summer, if I think. And now you're part of the core team. So I think you're muted.
I think I joined Reaction when that hackathon started, right?
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and then it just kept on getting extended. So I just kept on working with Reaction.
Awesome.
So then
How did you learn about Reaction?
So I came across Reaction from that Eric's blog, that open source as a full-time job. And at one point of time, I was browsing the most start repos on GitHub.
I see.
For the React changes.
I know, and you had worked at like on processing before with Google Summer of Code or something like that. So you've been around in open source for a while. How has it been going from being able to work on it on the side to working on it full time? Is it kind of like the blog post?
Yeah, it's very similar to the blog post, but I've been like kind of working freelancing on open source project for some time. So like this is not new to me, but yeah, like in a week I have learned a lot with Reaction and hope to continue to do so.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to you writing your own version of that blog post. And if you don't know what you're talking about, one of our other core team members, Eric, wrote a blog post about what it's like working on open source and how it can be scary but rewarding and fun. So I will make a link to that in the show notes. So first up, we have a section on news from core. So I wanted to ask Spencer to let us know what's up in the latest 1.6.3 and what's coming up next.
All right, so we actually released 1.6.4, I think it was Monday evening or Tuesday morning. So 1.6.4 is out. You can check the release notes for there to see kind of, it's mostly fixes. Akarshit actually has probably the most PRs that got merged into that one. So that one contains just a lot of little things, but they add up, I think, to make a fairly big difference. There's some stuff in the PDP involving the way we're handling images. There's a few documentation changes. There's a few internationalization changes. We had contributors, 3 new contributors that I think have never contributed before or have been contributed in limited ways before. So that was fantastic to see. But that's kind of the main thrust of it. We've got another performance focus coming up. I know we've got a few performance tickets that have just kind of been outstanding that we've been working on when we've gotten time, but we should have a fairly large push. I know I've been talking about performance probably for 3 months now, but we are focusing on a few specific performance related things coming up very shortly. Some of that stuff is going to be like using dynamic module loading. So that's kind of one of our bigger pushes is going to be, trying to work on setting up dynamic module loading within Reaction and seeing how much of the code base we can split off so that it doesn't load on that first page load, and that we're not sending the full bundle of code down to the client every time. There's going to be a few other pieces of performance. I know another piece that we're focused on is going to be optimizing some of the publications and subscriptions. That right now is a fairly heavy part of loading the first part of the app. And then in addition to optimizing the data that's sent down, making sure that we're only subscribing to the data that we need and that we're not refreshing those subscriptions unnecessarily. So those are some of the bigger pieces that we're looking at on the core side. Again, there's always going to be fixes. We always welcome community contributions. I think, fixing a bug is one of the best ways to get involved, or even updating the docs, or fixing a internationalization error. We're always looking for new contributors, and we're happy to help.
Awesome. So I know, Akash, that you've been working a lot on bugs, especially now, but even before that. What are you working on right now? And do you want to just tell us about what the latest PR you have, or the latest ticket?
I was working on that performance thing. So right now, what happens is basically whenever you change anything in the UI, the whole of the reaction renders again, and that is still okay, but the whole of the things that we have on the back end, the internationalizations and everything gets built up again. So it's like whenever you change something, a whole fireworks of trackers auto run. So now we are just moving stuff so that it's most of like refactoring stuff so that everything doesn't fire and we control what needs to be changed. So even I have created a PR for that. Let's see what's the status on that.
Awesome. I am looking forward to that. That's the PR that's like user pref stored in account. Is that one of them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So we, on the reaction team, we love it when outside contributors kind of comment on our PRs or keep us kind of in check. So that's always one way you can also participate, even if you're not doing a bug or not even if you're just filling a bug report or filing an issue or updating, UI or something. But if you have a comment about the way we're handling a PR, that's always another great way to contribute back. So that's always something you can do. Next up, we're going to do an update from Docs. So we have one huge update from a request that we've been getting a lot since probably the very beginning of Reaction, which is that we have a YouTube video for installing Windows, installing Reaction on Windows. The big update here is that Brent has a Windows machine now. And so Brent was the one that took the time to get that going. You can check out that video in the tutorial section of our YouTube page. And another new tutorial that we have from Michael is the testing tutorial, and I've added a link to the show notes. It's called Writing Tests, and it'll go through writing your very first test. And it has all the code in there, so I highly recommend checking that first and checking that out. And the biggest thing in, I think, community and docs is that Michael's been working on our swag shop, and all the code is online for that. And right now we have 2 versions that you can look at. I think it's kind of cool that you can see the swag shop change from just your very generic vanilla looking reaction shop that you might have seen before from when you very first launched Reaction to something much more bigger and complex. So there's 2 different links in the show notes. And he's also written a blog post about his very first kind of stab at it. But Michael, do you want to talk about what you've been working on and how that's been going?
Okay, can you hear me? Mm-hmm. So my internet connection is a little bit flaky, so let's try. Actually, we have been started to implement our swag shop lately. We kicked off, as Machiko already said, the project with a community blog post in December, I think, where I really tried to set the scenery a bit. Mm-hmm. And that means give the community members some background information about what we are trying to achieve there, what's the purpose of it, and how we created and organized the tasks or the issues in GitHub. So you may have a look into the blog post first before diving into the code. Mm-hmm. And the project itself is pretty open. Everybody is invited to participate or comment or give us feedback if you have any questions. I mean, in the end, this whole project, community-wise, the most important aspect certainly is to provide something to the community, that shows actually how to implement a reaction shop in practice, because what we have right now is more this bee's knees demo example plugin, but that's not the kind of full-blown plugin that we would have had, like to had, and now we are actually going towards this direction to have our first full-fledged plugin.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead and check this out. Right now, the current state is the landing page is actually styled, and we have I have done some changes to the schemas, to the database, a little bit to the admin backend to handle the specific requirements for our Swag shop. Like one special thing is, for example, that we have featured products. This means you can label any product as new or as bestseller or something like that in the back end. It's something that's not there in the stock reaction, but you might need some kind of something like that if you are going to customize your shop. And also there are a lot of client-side modifications. Mostly it's about overriding React components, customized pages, customized menus, quite a bit of CSS modifications. So I think it's a good starting point for everybody who's in the process of creating a complete new shop.
Yeah, so just a reminder, you can log in and create an account on the Swag shop, because I believe we have it set so that the database resets every 55 minutes, right?
Yes, this is for the first link you sent, the official Swag at reaction.io. This is where we are going to deploy the final deployment on the final code base. The other link with the day-to-day where you see the actual progress of what I'm doing every day. This is a little bit different. This will not going to reset, but that's just a minor thing. It's not important, I think.
Yeah. Awesome. And so when somebody wants to go in and try to get this Reaction Swag shop running on their machine the very first time, it's important to note that you'll have to create a Reaction shop ahead of time and then install this just as a plugin, because you have all the code for this shop as just one plugin, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so what we mean by that is that instead of cloning just the Swag shop repository, which you can, that won't get you anywhere, because you'll have to clone the Swag shop code into just the plugins folder.
Yes, this is correct, and actually you should be able to just to see it in the README. There I have listed all the steps you need to take to get a running shop. It's also important to set the skip fixtures environment variable, and also you need, for now, you need to copy the private and the public assets into the global application folders.
Awesome, I see that. Cool. Akershit or Spencer, do you have any questions for Michael about how the Swag shop is running? Have you had time to check it out?
I poked around a little bit. It looks pretty cool. Excited to have something that we can go and mess around on and not have to worry about the consequences because it gets reset every 55 minutes. I think that's a pretty exciting way to do a demo. Are there any things that you're learning, Michael, doing this that has made you want to change anything in core, or that you feel like we need to, maybe adjust the way we're doing in core?
I would say overall, I am pretty confident that the current code base in core is kind of modular enough. It's pretty easy to extend or to override whatever you need. I'm pretty happy with the components API so far. I would like to see something similar for the schemas. So actually, right now in the current state, there's a validation error because I modified the tagging schema, the tag schema. And this is because it is hard referenced in core somewhere. And I'm not able, at least I didn't find a way until now to override that hard-coded schema. So that would be nice to have something similar for schemas, like the get component or get raw component API call. And additionally, there are some minor things I have encountered, like today, where I created a new pull request a couple of hours ago. Just a minor inconvenience. It was about passing some properties through a higher order component because I was extending the raw component with a new property, and I didn't want to touch the higher order component wrapper around it. So, but for that, I need to be able to pass the component properties in a transient way. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the code base, and I feel it's really quite easy to get your modified system running.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Well, and I guess as another core note, one of the other things that we have coming up very shortly is a PR that one of our community contributors has been working on for quite some time to transition from essentially the Meteor version of Simple Schema to the Node version of Simple Schema. That will touch almost every part of the code, because anywhere we're using schemas substantially, it's going to change just a little bit. But it should resolve your issue, Michael, of having to be able to override existing schemas. I think it handles all of that significantly better. So it's great to hear that Reaction has been extensible enough for you. It seems like you've done some pretty great work in just the short amount of time that you've done it. It's been essentially just you, as far as I know. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So I think that really goes to show how much a single developer working on a platform like Reaction can accomplish. I think it's exciting to see that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we just got a comment in the live chat, which if you have the YouTube link open, you can see on the side. But Patrick Newell, one of our contributors, said that he said, "Oh, Michael, I had the same issue last night modifying the shop schema. So assuming I understand your issue, here's my suggestion. PR 3461, or did I get that link wrong? I'm not sure. Let me look up his pull requests. So yeah, 3461. Yeah, so I'll be checking that out right after this call ends. But yeah, it looks great. So for those who haven't heard about our components API, we have really good talks for that. And I believe we even have a YouTube video on using higher order components and our component API. And that's basically a way that allows you to, instead of using our React component, you could replace it entirely with your own. And you can look at how Michael's been doing that in the Swag shop. Like, for example, he replaced the language dropdown, or he replaced the cart icon, and things like that. So that is a great place to get started when you're starting to do more complex things with Reaction. One thing I wanted to note before the call ends is that we'll be having a Reaction action next week. So you should sign up. You can sign up by going to our homepage. And one reason why you should sign up is because we are going to be announcing the winners of the Hack-a-Bug-a-thon contest. And so we still have a few more days up until then to sign up on our Hackathon form if you would like to get some swag for the pull request that you've made over the past month and a half or so. And what's also coming up from Docs is that Brent, who's not here right now, is working on a Reaction DevTools plugin that will help you. And his plan for that is that it'll help you load or reset the database more easily. In our next community call, we're going to have the Artlines team talk about the different stuff they've been working on. They've been working on a lot of stuff that they mentioned in the architecture channel on Gitter. Things like they're using Headless Chrome for Meteor Spiderable, which is like a SEO plugin type of thing. And they're also working on different stuff for multi-shipment marketplace shipping and that kind of stuff. So that's what we'll be having, be having on in the next 2 weeks. And yeah, it looks like we don't have any questions in the community area. So that'll be the end of the call today. Thanks for having us. Bye.
Bye-bye.